We're back. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I am your host, your comedian. This cord keeps fucking. Can we calm down now? There we go. Just don't fucking touch the mic cord again. Okay. Hi. We're back. We are so back. Chat, we are back. Chat, we are so back. Chat. Okay. Hi, welcome to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. I am your comedian / meteorologist for the evening, your meteorologist, Cloud Hudson. It's me. And I'll be bringing you all of tonight's top vibe stories. Doesn't behave. I'm going to have to switch it out with another one. So I hope it will behave. Okay. Let us not dilly-dally. Let us not delay. Let's get right into talking about tonight's top stories. Whoa. All right. We're off. We're off to the races. Let's go ahead and talk about here's a nice, light, fluffy, cheery, happy story. Who could see a white Christmas? Map shows this is the AccuWeather map of likelihood of a white Christmas. I believe the last time there was a white Christmas in my area was 2020. I remember that one fondly. I was working at Lowe's at the time, and there was lots of snow that week, and we had an actual white Christmas. It was quite lovely. Looks like all the mountain states are more likely to see snow. The Great Lakes areas are probably going to still have snow on the ground, even if they don't see actual snowfall. But yeah, it's La Nina winters tend to be banner years for the Pacific Northwest and Rocky Mountains. Great Lakes in New England also see above average snow when La Nina pattern is placed, and we are now more in a weaker and shorter La Nina. So it might not be exactly like that. So I'm not a forecaster. I'm just saying I'm forecasting that forecasters will say that there's going to be a white Christmas. We're probably going to see a lot of white Christmas forecasts. That's my forecast for the forecasts. Another fun one. Earth's hidden 8th continent is no longer lost. Zealandia, the continent that New Zealand is part of, has been recently mapped and discovered to have been its own continent, along with part of Western Antarctica. The mapping took place using rock samples from under the seabed in the undersea geology of North Zealandia. New Zealand is like the last little chunk that's still above ground or above sea level. The rest of the ground is sunk back into the Earth's mantle to be recycled. It's melting down there and turning back into a molten core of Earth. Not core, but like it's in the molten layer of rock rather than the solid crusty part of the rock that we live on. Let's see. Anybody here yet? Nope. Still just talking to myself. That's okay. Rare rainbow cloud forms in Indonesia. That is another cute little story. Take a look at this cloud iridescence. Cloud iridescence is my favorite type of atmospheric phenomenon, my favorite kind of cloud, if you were wondering. My favorite kind of cloud is a rainbow cloud like this one. So cloud iridescence in this case came from the cirrus clouds that are forming in a little cap over some cumulus clouds that are over a mountain range. So this is probably like not exactly an overshooting top of but it's something similar to that, because this isn't really a cumulonimbus cloud. It is just a nice cumulus cloud that has a little cap of cirrus on top of it. The cirrus is that nice, thin, fine, icy crystal type cloud, or this could be like a nice mist of liquid water droplets. Either way, the entire cloud acts as a prism that displays birefringence. It would be birefringence if this was a solid crystal we were looking in. But since it's a cloud, we call this cloud iridescence. It's still the interference pattern of the white light going through each different water droplet and hitting or interfering with the light going through other water droplets to show up as one color or another, depending on the angle of view. And that differing angle of view, that different color by angle of view, makes the entire cloud look a different color based on where you are. And that means that sometimes from perspectives on the surface of the earth, you can see the cloud as a rainbow. I have a TED talk about, I know, what a fucking humble brag, right? I have a TEDx talk about what cloud iridescence is and how it forms, and a fun little metaphor about like life and stuff associated with the beautiful imagery of cloud iridescence. If you would like to learn more about it, I will probably link it on my page soon. I don't know where it is. It's under my old name, which is Katie Hudson. I'm not really a Katie anymore. That's not really my whole deal. I'm much more of a cloud. And so on another happy, light, fluffy note, there was recently a massive consolidation of class consciousness in the United States with the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO. Very unfortunate for his family. Yet the more unfortunate thing is that there have been millions of families who also lost their fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters due to health insurance claims being denied. So it all works out in the end. It all balances out. The good news is that the assassin seems to be indeed very attractive. We are getting word that the assassin both rides bikes and uses public transportation and has decent bone structure from the nose to the forehead area. Some pretty sexy eyebrows too. May have a winning smile. We details are still forthcoming. Apparently he went invisible. Pretty nice jawline, I would say. So it is true that this man is probably, if he's a man, could be a very handsome woman. Probably is somewhere drowning in pussy. We don't really know his exact whereabouts, but I am pretty sure it is several inches deep somewhere. I'm not really sure where that somewhere is, though. I'm not going to show the face of the mass murderer because I don't believe that they deserve good press. They almost, I feel like it's in very poor taste for this right here, down here, we're going to get to see the face of the mass murdering CEO. So I'm not going to show that because I don't believe that murderers deserve to be rewarded with praise or press. But I do just want everybody to know that the hero that took down this CEO was indeed somebody most likely very attractive. And so he will probably have many places to hide for the rest of his life, and no one will ever turn him in because he is just too cute. Okay. Do you guys like my dry humor? I do. Okay, let's go now to check on what volcanoes erupted today. Still no one watching, which is fine. Because, you know, if no one's watching, then if no one's watching, that means that no one's spying on me. So that's a great comforting fact, I guess. They don't know how much I know. Canlaon in central Philippines eruption, Mount Ibu, Ducono, Santiaguito, and Reventador all had explosive activity continuing. Let's see the official roundup for the 6th. Nevado del Ruiz getting in on the action. So yeah, in Guatemala, Colombia, and Ecuador, we're looking at, in Colombia, we saw no volcanic ash emissions detected. Looks like we are still getting no news for the Rearcast Peninsula, which means that the eruption is ongoing still. Let's see the ground deformation maps. I haven't looked at the deformation maps in a while. Yep. Decent little chunk of data here. Doesn't look like anything is tapered off recently since the initial first few days of this eruption. I don't see changes in the rate of ground change. No inflection points really popping out, except maybe there. Yeah, looks like we are just continuing the spillage, the seepage of magma into lava. Let's go now to take a look at our earthquakes. And if you have never been on this broadcast before, if you've never watched me before, this is a weather program, but this is what I call a completely comprehensive weather recap show. So I recap what happened in the weather. The weather includes the vibes, just the general vibe of the day. General vibe of the day was take some time for yourself. 4.0 here is this in Cuba? Or is this in the little strait between Cuba and Haiti? Okay, no, this is right off the coast of Haiti. We had a 4.0 at 26 kilometers depth right off the coast of Haiti. We had a 3.3 near 2.9, a 2.8, and a 4.2, all circling around north of Puerto Rico. Those were all at medium shallow depth. We had a 1.3 here in northeastern Oklahoma, a 1.6 in central Oklahoma, a 2.4 in Kansas, and then a smattering of 2s in our regular spots in California and Texas, as well as continued aftershocks from yesterday's 7.0 quake in California, off the California coast. You can see there stacks of 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5, 10, 15, 20 different aftershock quakes in that area. Also, saw lots of little magnitude quakes, lots of zeros and low magnitude quakes in, including surface level quakes in Alaska. A normal amount in magnitude of quakes in Hawaii. We had a 4.1 here at 342 kilometers depth, 120 kilometers west-northwest of Anamitsu, Japan, and a 4.5 at the other end of Japan at 35 kilometers depth. So there's a shallow and there's a deep barbells there. 5.5 at 12 kilometers depth here in central Philippines, and a 4.4 at 81 kilometers depth down in Indonesia. Now we had another pair of deep and shallows here. This is, I believe, that 8th continent that we were talking about. This right here, the wave-shaped plate boundary that I like to call it wave-shaped because I think it looks like a wave that's cresting. When you look at the shape of the undersea mounts, it looks like the outline of the shape of a crashing ocean wave. 4.6 was at 561 kilometers depth. The 5.1 was at 44 kilometers depth, and that was in Tonga. Let's see what's next. What else did we have here? 4.3 in Greece. That was at 10 kilometers depth. Nothing showing up on the... Oh, yes, we do have one on the Antarctic plate boundary. That's a 4.8 at 10 kilometers depth. A 4.9 out here on the East Pacific Rise at 10 kilometers depth. And a 4.3 at 269 kilometers depth. So the 4.8 and 4.9 were at the same depth that the 7 over here took place at. The 4.3, let me turn off. Can we see what this was opposite? This was opposite. I was going to say this is exactly opposite where that 5.5 was, but not exactly. This is almost opposite where those deep quakes were, but not quite. Let's see. Next. Oh, and yeah, of course, the 4.3 here in Argentina. Yeah, that's the one we were looking at. Let's go now to check out our atmosphere. What's going on is that we've got more precipitation moving into Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana region. It's mostly eastern Texas that's getting the precipitation right now. This is all coming from this air mass moving around the high pressure system along this cold front. We are dragging moisture from the Gulf of Mexico up into desert Texas and circling around the high pressure system there. The low would be going this way. The high would be going this way. Let's see. Over here in Lake Effect Snow region, the Great Lakes region, we are looking at yet again, more winter weather. Let's see the winter weather. Yeah, you can see it really from in Dunkirk area to Buffalo area. really racking up the snow just in Oswego and Dunkirk. Those two places are known for being like peak lake effect snow. Receiver, excuse me. Something. Head hurts. Like a very specific spot. It's quite weird. It's like in my PZ area. Might be getting a psychic attack. Who knows? Okay. Anyway, let's go. Let's look at that winter weather in motion. If it ever loads. Like, is that my hat doing that? No. Okay, sorry. There's a weird pain in the back of my head. It's not like a headache. It's like my scalp hurts. I don't know. What was I saying? The winter weather here just keeps coming. Honestly, the stationary front is doing its best to keep dumping on the Great Lakes region. Let's take a look at just exactly how much precipitation has fallen in these areas by looking at, you guessed it, pivotal weather. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. No, I didn't. Okay, so current hazards map only showing hazards for the Buffalo area in the Northeast and also up here in Washington, Idaho, Montana regions. Still looking at freeze warnings on the Florida-Georgia line. Let's see what else. Actually, let's look at observed snowfall first. Decent observed snowfall streaming off of Erie, PA right there. But once we go to 48 hours, you can see that it was more significant in the past days in many areas of the region. So this machine might be slowing down a little bit. Who knows? They're just starting to get relative dustings of only up to 8 inches. And in 72 hours, they've gotten a lot seasonally. Man, whoever is trying to drill a hole in the back of my head, can you please stop? That hurts. It's like really annoying. Precipitation hasn't added up very much in the past day for the Gulf Coast, except for offshore. We've got decent precipitation in the Northeast again, but again, nothing like we saw in the past 3 days or even week. So we're looking a lot better than we did the past few days. Let's take a look at our temperatures, though. What temperatures did we see today? What temperature changes did we see? Because yesterday there was a big swath of land that had, okay, yeah, this area that increased in temperature today actually didn't increase to something warm. It's just that yesterday it got so cold in these regions that the cold air today isn't quite as cold. So it's not really a warm up in these areas. It's more like a relaxing of the freezing. Okay. Now let's take a look at, I haven't done null earth in a while, but I don't think I'm going to because I need to, I don't know, stop. This headache is just brutal. I don't know what's going on here. Hello, Jenny, Florida, Georgia. If it was meant to be, yeah, hello. I'm happy to have you back. Happy to be here with you guys. I've been gone for a little bit because my studio got disturbed, but I'm back. Yeah, we had great vibes. There was some cloud iridescence, very beautiful aesthetic news lately. Let's go to look at the magnetosphere. No, let's look at the Schumann resonances first. Because over the past few days, the Schumann resonances have just been like going crazy. See if they've slowed down or centered on anything. Nope, still going bonkers. Man, we are waking the hell up, people. 20 hertz has a pretty strong straight path. It doesn't have like that nice rounded look to it that the average resonance bands have, like mode 1, mode 2. This is just below mode 3, so I think this is something artificial. And mode 4 up there, you can see. Looks like mode 2 had some decent power put into it as well as near 1. But we made it all the way up to bursts with 3. Okay, so mode 2 and mode 5-ish, I would call it. Some higher frequency inputs got in there. Let's look at our frequencies. Average frequencies. Looking not quite as elevated as you'd expect. Let's look at our amplitude, though, because that's really the amount going through. Yeah, buddy. We had some big spikes on the 5th, and then we've seen some decent inputs on the 6th across the board, but the 5th is the day that we saw that mode 4 spike, really interestingly enough. Now, let's take a look at the solar weather for today. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the planetary weather. Sorry, guys. I'm usually more on top of it. It's just that there's this weird pain in the back of my head that's like out of nowhere. Kind of distracting. On the 6th, we only saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coronal mass ejections. None of them had partial halos associated with them, but we've already got one on the 7th as of GMT time or Z time. We don't have any gifs of the solar images right now because our SDO is still down from some damage it sustained back on the 26th of November, but we are looking like boiling up. This looks like mammatus clouds right here, so I think this indicates some instability in the coronosphere. I think that all of these indicate that there is connection between every location of sunspot groups. I think right here looks kind of like waveforms. Do you see the pattern of the, it's not a sine wave, it's almost a triangle wave that's got a rounded off tip. Both of these look like crashing ocean waves, another pattern we see very often. That bright region is 3917. That's the one that looks the most juicy right now, I guess. But there are also these two big coronal holes. Well, there were. I don't know. Solar protons look decent. I guess we only had one M-class flare in the X flares today. Let's look at our auroral activity. 1.5, 1+ KP index, and only in the northward component, not much to speak of. Moderate M1.49 flare and a R1 radio blackout in progress. Not too much to write home about. Let's take a look at our planetary weather now. Howdy, Cloud. So glad you were safe. It could be a square wave. Yes, it could be a square wave. It's kind of like a square wave. It's kind of like a square wave, only it's combined with a triangle wave, a sawtooth wave. Let's see. What was I going to say? Okay. Current planetary weather. It is a Saturn day and a Saturn hour because we are in the first hour of the day on a Saturday for me when I'm broadcasting now. So let's start by talking about Saturn. It's in Pisces at 13 degrees, just stationed direct. No longer retrograde motion there. Actually, not just stationed direct. It was pretty recently, though. And that is square to Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. We had the Mercury Cazimi yesterday, and that is opposite Jupiter retrograde in Gemini at 16 degrees of Gemini. Those are Mercury and Jupiter in mutual reception and both in retrograde motion. So the Sun square Saturn is giving us a lot of fuel for discipline and getting our fucking shit together and doing the work we're supposed to be doing, but maybe escaping reality and escaping the times, maybe living a little bit in the past or philosophizing about the past a little bit too much. Nostalgia is coming up for me of the grandiosity of getting lost in nostalgia. We've got Venus ingressed into Aquarius now, officially conjoined Pluto in Aquarius. Venus conjunct Pluto in Aquarius is affecting our perceptions of love, money, material relationships, justice, equality, fairness, egalitarian things. Of course, this is the transit that would happen as images of the at-large CEO assassin come out and everybody has a crush on the assassin. This is very much Venus and Pluto in Aquarius taking out the last dregs of Capricorn's Pluto time. Venus just went in there and cleaned up Pluto, like what Pluto had done in Capricorn, really wiped the ass of a Capricorn that Pluto just really raw fucked. It was bad. what happened with Pluto and Capricorn was really bad. And Venus is going in there and cleaning it up. Maybe we are a little deluded about how good Pluto and Aquarius is going to be, because things have a bit of a rose-colored glasses feel to them right now. We want to believe that, like, we can make a revolution that will completely fix what went wrong with Pluto and Capricorn by moving into the future, into the Aquarian age. But we're just going to have new Pluto problems. We're going to have new Aquarius or Pluto and Aquarius problems. So while we were able to get rid of a CEO who put people's lives at stake by gambling on a AI algorithm that determines people's healthcare coverage, we were able to get rid of the person that implemented that this time, but we will not be able to get rid of every company implementing life or death decisions being made by an AI going forward in the future. We make progress, and then it also goes backwards, because now people are, they're taking pictures of their leadership off the websites. It's not going to be able to be holding personal people accountable anymore. There's just going to be faceless machines and formulas that are supposed to be neutral and unbiased that will be killing people. Moving on. The moon at 27 degrees of Aquarius, co-present with that Venus conjunct Pluto, is making a square to Uranus in Taurus, and that Uranus in Taurus is making a trine to the Venus and Pluto. So that is how those co-present planets are talking to each other, is with making aspects to the modern day ruler of Aquarius, which is Uranus, whatever you want to say. So I think it's interesting that Uranus in Taurus is being a go-between, because Moon and Venus are two planets associated with Taurus, Venus being the ruler and the Moon being the planet that has its exaltation in Taurus. And all of this having had aspects to Aquarius, or having had aspects to Pluto and Capricorn previously. This Uranus and Taurus previously had aspects to both Pluto and Capricorn and Aquarius, and now we are finally only aspecting Pluto and Aquarius. So from here on out, everything that happens Uranus and Taurus is going to be Pluto and Aquarius themed and flavored, and so on and so forth. Not looking forward to Uranus in Gemini, but we are about to head towards that transit. Buckle up, kids. Are you ready? Okay. I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm not going to tell you. Okay. Anyway, Mars in Leo at 6 degrees is opposing this Venus and Pluto in Aquarius. And this Mars is about to go retrograde. So it will retrograde through the first degrees of Leo, go into Cancer just a little bit, and then station direct and go back into Leo. So it will cross back over these degrees again eventually. This is just approaching the degree of stationing direct. I think it's pretty significant that this is happening across from Venus conjunct Pluto, because Venus and Mars have such a polar aspect already, such a opposite aspect already. It's almost like Venus is here encouraging or propping up Pluto to overtake Mars. We are currently I don't know. I would say that we're not making rash decisions impulsively for our ego, but or maybe we are more thinking of the benevolence of the collective when making our decisions of impulsive individualistic actions. I don't know. Let's go talk about the vibes. What is the... She said Uranus. I did say Uranus. Wow, 4 viewers. It's a record. It's not a record, but it is a lot. I have a magic 8-ball on my keychain now. This is my keys, by the way. How gay do you think I am? Is anybody in the chat a first-time viewer? Magic 8-ball? Go for it. Hey, if you're a first-time viewer, drop it in the chat. Say hello. This is my weather show. Weather includes everything from the volcanic sphere to the from the lithosphere to the magnetosphere to the interplanetary magnetic field, and all the way out to the movement of the planets themselves. All of that is inextricably linked with each other. It's just that the impacts are so subtle from one octave of waveform to the next that we don't currently have really good data on the connection. The next octave up from planetary movements is galactic movements and energies, and you're just going to have to trust me on this one. There's some intuitive spiritual science that comes in when you get to the point of the limitations of our current scientific methods understanding. But that doesn't mean that that is where scientific inquiry ends. Actually, people have been inquiring scientifically about the nature of the universe for a very long time, longer than you even imagine human history to be. People have been developing the practice of spiritual science for a long time, even before maybe we thought time existed, or that we can remember, or that there was a reset button hit or something. There's always been spiritual development since we were just rocks. Okay. That's why when we go from one medium of wave propagation to the next, you think there's no connection. You would think there's no connection between the planets and archetypes and spiritual, more like mystical kind of intellect. But you're just going to have to trust me on this one, bro. And don't just trust me, trust God. Okay? Oh, no. She said the God word. You can't say that in science. Well, maybe you can. Okay. 2 cards just popped out. So I'm going to go with both of them. This deck does not often give me 2 cards. So what's the vibe of the day from this? I am learning that all problems resolve themselves, and it has a beautiful little seashore on it. And I look for positive aspects in every experience, with somebody with like a lemon tree as a headdress or something. I am learning that all problems resolve themselves says when you have a problem, a desire exudes from you and Source hears it and answers it immediately. Once you remove your attention from the problem, you then allow the solution. Give birth to the question and let it go, and allow the answers to flow. It's a good one. I look for positive aspects in every experience, says within every particle of the universe that is that which is wanted and lack of it. By looking for the positive aspects of whatever you are giving your attention to, you maintain your connection to well-being. I believe all of that is part of the scientific process as well. All problems resolve themselves. All flaws with your hypothesis will eventually lead you to new avenues of inquiry. So even when you're wrong, you're right about something being wrong. Positive aspects in every experience. There's a positive aspect to even trying a process and failing miserably. Okay. Next. Let's take a look at what the tarot has to say. I got my holographic tarot deck here. What goes with I am learning that all problems resolve themselves, and I look for positive aspects in every experience. Positive aspects in every experience, and all problems resolve themselves. Oh, I forgot. I moved this off center. Anybody want to come out as the messenger from that beyond which we can experience and sense with our physical bodies? Anybody from this deck want to be the carrier of the message that goes with this? We have death in reverse. That goes so well with looking for positive aspects in every experience and problems resolving itself. Death card in tarot is not necessarily about mortal death, though that is the example that it uses for its archetype. It's also about complete rebirth, regeneration, renewal, growth, decay, rot, and fertilization of soil. Everything that dies now becomes the fertile ground for the birth of the future. Everything that rots away leaves a cavity to be filled with something beautiful. All decay goes back to zero so that there can eventually be growth again. You need to break things down into their constituent parts in order to reassemble those parts into something new. You can't alchemize something without breaking it down into the simplest units that the thing has in common. It's like factoring in mathematics. Like when you're looking for the lowest common denominator, or when you're dividing numbers, you want to, or finding the multiples between numbers, you want to find the lowest common denominator. That's a step in solving the problem. You find the most small basic aspect of what two states or two things or two numbers have in common, and then you just scale up the entire process by the ratio of how much of that common thing each of them has. Like if 4 has 2 2s in it and 8 has 4 2s in it, you find how many 2s each has and the ratio of 2s that those things have to each other. And then you could say, oh, there's twice as many 2s in 8 as there are in 4. And so I just need to do the amount of 2s I needed for 4 to get to 8. I know that sounds like some new math kind of shit. Let's bring it back to death card in reverse. In order to create something new, in order to let the problems resolve themselves, you need to look for the basic concept that unites everything. Usually it's love, but it doesn't have to be. the death card reminds us that there is a common ground between all living things, our mortality, but also that there is something that can be created from any experience, any future desired state or outcome of happiness can always be achieved through the process you're going through now. Your life is just the vehicle for figuring out how you turn the current shit into gold. It's about alchemy. It's about process. It's about revitalization. It's about breaking down into constituent parts. Death card reversed also puts the dead bodies at the top. They have risen. They have actually conquered death. So the reversal of the death card is about the just past the transformation stage of everything being topsy-turvy, up is down, down is up, and beautiful inversion of something that seems like the ultimate bad thing becoming very, very, very good. This could be revolutionary because the card is revolved. Death reversed is a great card to pull. Death reversed is also the card that many religions pull. You get it? Jesus was death reversed. Okay. Let's go to the postcards from the liminal space deck. That is one that I really like. It's got its own. It's the only one that has a guidebook. I have 3 different decks, and they're very different types of decks that you can have, and that's why I like using these together, because there's one that comes with a guidebook, one that comes with no interpretations, and one that comes with interpretations written on the back of the cards. There's 2 that don't have reversal readings, one that does. They're all 3 very different card materials. I just really like the trifecta of these cards. Now, they're not the only cards I have. I just like pairing them together. Okay. Postcards from the liminal space. Okay. We're going to leave in with this. No, we're not. Okay, sorry. I just got a card that jumped out that said that was not the right cards. So hold on. Let me shuffle this. Postcards from the liminal space. What is the cards that go with death reversed and I am learning that all problems resolve themselves? Oh, I did forget to play the singing bowl. I'll play that at the end. Thank you, Jenny. The thingamajig. I didn't do it first, but maybe I'll leave us with the singing bowl so that we can do. Stefan Burns has been doing that as the end of his broadcast lately, playing a unity consciousness meditation. And I think that maybe I'll do that tonight. I'll leave us on that. Okay, what goes with death reversed? I'm learning that all problems resolve themselves, and I look for positive aspects in every experience. This is the one that I drew, one of the ones I drew earlier. So this was the one that was actually trying to come out. It says, drink water, which is very funny to me because I've just been going through, the place I live has just been going through a water crisis. And I also am currently kind of thirsty. If you don't know, I live in near-ish Asheville, North Carolina. So we just got potable water back from our city like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, after it's been out for like 2 months from Hurricane Helene. And many people are still quite literally not drinking the Kool-Aid. We are not drinking that damn tap water. No fucking way. People will drink their own urine before they'll drink the tap water here, if I'm being honest. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm pretty sure people would be drinking their own fluids before the tap water. I've been making that joke, by the way, in my stand-up comedy set for about 4 years, that we need to start practicing for the water wars by drinking our own pee. And now it's come to pass. And who was right? Me, all along. And no one listened. You three viewers who are listening, I'm right about a lot of stuff. You'll know. I don't care if anybody else does. You listened. Brought to you by Sophia Water. If you don't know, you'll know eventually when your town goes through a water crisis. Sophia Water sent like pallets of this 10-year shelf life water, and everywhere that was an aid station was giving it out, and now it's like a thing that everybody knows about but nobody had heard about before. Box water, it's gonna be big. Let's see, drink water, what's the interpretation for that? It wasn't just telling me to take a sip of water. Since the dawn of this planet, water has held the highly esteemed role of sustaining all life. The saying goes, if you're looking for life, look for water. The human form is made up of about 60% water. When the body loses just 5% of its total water, negative and often painful effects begin to set in. On average, losing a rate of 2 to 3 liters water per day, it doesn't take much for dehydration to start chipping away at the body on a cellular level. Chronic dehydration rates are at an all-time high. But remember, just because this is happening on a large scale does not mean it is normal. So please do yourself a favor and drink water. Your life literally depends on it. So, yeah, drink water. Maybe don't drink tap water. Have I been eating MREs? I look full of color. I ate an MRE. Well, it wasn't an MRE. I ate a Heater Express Plus meal like 2 days ago, and it had lots of vitamins in it. But I've been eating mostly like frozen and, well, not frozen. I've been eating a lot of World Central Kitchen food and things that have been like collectively made for the benefit of people surviving together. I think that adds more health and vitality to your food when it was cooked with care and love. That's a very funny comment. I don't know what you mean by, have you been eating MREs? You look full of color. I'm a colorful character. I don't know. LMAO on the Sophia. It's very, I don't even know where Sophia Water is from. It says controlled environment. I don't know what that means. Made in USA, just general USA. That's it. It doesn't say where in USA. It's just generally from the USA. Yeah, I have been eating some MREs, but that's just because that's kind of what you do in Asheville now. We're just, guys, if you didn't know, we're already living in the climate apocalypse, and some places that are leveling up spiritually are just faster in the timeline, and Asheville is full of a bunch of dirty hippies and people who never stopped worshiping Christ, and also people who never were colonized in the first place, and people who are getting back in touch with their natural higher human life stream. So time is happening faster here, and we are in the future. I know this sounds very crazy, but hear me out. Everyone's going to be in a water crisis this time next year. By this time in 2025, everywhere is going to know about MREs and boxed water and how to make your own charcoal filter and how to drill your own well. Well, maybe they won't know how to do all that stuff, but they'll want to know. We're like a year ahead of the timeline in my local area. And get ready. Ta-da! You'll survive if you like love yourself and your neighbors and believe in survival. But if you don't think that you can do it, or you think you might just want to give up instead of try, or you think you're built for the old world where you just have to make money to buy life, then I don't know what to tell you, because I was just waiting for that shit to get over with. That shit is Pluto and Capricorn. We're donezo. We're done with that. We're creating a collective consciousness, an internet of brains that can survive and level up and create our characters for the next phase of humanity. I don't know what you're doing if you're not on that good, this problem will take care of itself stuff. If you believe that there has to be a sad big war instead of a gradual turning over of the decaying of one machine into the formation of the survival of the next great unity consciousness, then I don't know what to tell you. I look for the positive aspects in every experience. I am learning that all problems resolve themselves. Capitalism, like many problems, will resolve itself. I don't have to do anything. All I got to do is love myself, love my neighbor, learn how to dig a hole. I think Holes by Louis Sachar, that book was very ahead of its time. Maybe all you need to learn in life is to build a little character and dig a hole. Just go dig a hole. Just learn how to dig a hole. Maybe that's all you need to do. Put seeds in it. Maybe get a well from it. Maybe just learn how to dig a hole, and then you'll appreciate how to build a hill. Chugging that good Sophia water. I'm no longer drinking on this podcast or off this podcast. I just drink water now. And I'm damn good at it too. I'm damn good at drinking water. You know, I used to think I was very good at drinking other things, but I'm also really, really good at drinking water. Somebody complimented me on how much water I drink the other day, and I felt very human. Yeah, like I said, drink water. Water is life. If you become one with the water in your body, you'll never die. It's pretty easy. I love my neighbor, but didn't say I have to like him. That's so true. That is so true, Jenny. Okay, I love you guys very much. I'm so glad we got to talk about cloud iridescence earlier. If you missed that part, rewatch the beginning of this broadcast. I'm so glad that we are living in the future and we are creating the future now. And I love being here on this timeline with you guys. I'm loving life. Honestly, I survived a hurricane and I feel better for it. I don't think I would have wanted to do the past 2 months any other way. I like it better this way. I love you guys so much. Let's dwell in positivity, love, and radiance, and looking on the bright side of things, because we know just how dark they actually are. All right. Love you guys. Bye.